Are you one of the many people who spend hours creating custom Unmatched decks only to realize you haven't had a chance to test even half of them? Do you have a great deck idea but can't quite get it to feel the way you want it? Well, I think what you need is the Unmatched Playtesting Guild. The Playtesting Guild is an event started by Fanaka66 on the Unmatched subreddit where players work together to play and provide feedback on fan-made decks in order to earn points. Each new round will feature a deck submitted by the current highest point holder, giving incentive to keep participating until you get your deck in the spotlight. So, grab your favorite custom deck and head on over to the Playtesting Guild. What's up guys, Zero Skater here, and today we're going to be jumping into round 12 of the Playtesting Guild with another character in the same realm as King Arthur with Morgana LeFay by TheKnight618. Hopefully Gary got a lot of great feedback from last episode with Sasaki Kojiro. It was a total blast to play, so if you guys missed that one, be sure to go check it out. And if you want to get one of your decks in the spotlight, all you got to do is participate. So jump on over to the Reddit page and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. And as always guys, make sure you attack that like button if you enjoy the video, and subscribe for more Unmatched content. But without further ado, let's jump on into the Playtesting Guild and check out Morgana LeFay. Alright guys, so here we are on Unmatched Maker yet again, and like before, this is going to be a live reaction video here. I have not looked at any of this before, so let's go ahead and check it out. But we're going to be looking at Morgana LeFay by TheKnight618. Looks like it's version 1.3. It says the guild speaks, so looks like he's already gotten some good feedback on this deck and made some changes. So excited to try out the newest version. But scrolling down, we're going to have Morgana LeFay as the hero. Ranged fighter, so that's cool. Starting health of 13, relatively low, but pretty in line with what you'd expect from a ranged fighter. Sidekick is the Green Knight. Melee fighter with only 4 health. That's really low for a sidekick. Basic movement of 2. Special ability says once per turn you may play a card with scheme on it as a scheme, ignoring all other text. If these cards are played during an attack, ignore the scheme text. Interesting. So I'm a little confused at what that means, but I'm sure it'll clear up as we move along into the cards. So let's get right on in. So looking at our first card here, it's going to be a 4-value attack for Morgana called Stalking Camelot. 2 boost value, 2 copies in the deck. Here we go. So it says scheme. So must have an attack or versatile card to scheme. Place Morgana adjacent to an opposing fighter. Take an immediate free attack action with a +1 value. Then after combat, you may take an immediate free scheme action. Okay, so thinking about this one with the ability. So it says scheme. You must have an attack or a versatile card in order to use this as a scheme. I'm guessing one of those 2 types of cards in your hand. Then you put Morgana adjacent to the opposing fighter. You take an immediate free attack action with a +1 value. Okay, so it's the condition of having the attack or versatile card is so that when you take that free attack action and getting that +1 value, you have a card to use as an attack, otherwise it wouldn't do anything. So that makes sense there. After combat, you may take an immediate free scheme action. So if you have another scheme in your hand, you can go ahead and play that scheme after that attack. Actually, looking at the ability, okay, so it says if these cards are played during an attack, ignore the scheme text. But if you use it as a scheme, you ignore all other text. So it's an either-or kind of thing. So Stalking Camelot, if you use as a scheme, you're going to immediately put Morgana adjacent to the opponent. You're going to get your attack with a +1. But then it ignores the after combat ability of this card because you're not using that card as an attack. Or if you don't use it as a scheme, use it as an attack. It's just a 4-value attack that says after combat you can take an immediate free scheme action. So it makes sense. Makes sense. Pretty cool that it has dual utility. You know, you can use it as different type of card depending on the situation. And then looking at this next card here, it's going to be called Stone Illusion, a blue 4 with 2 copies in the deck, also a 2 boost value. And the scheme effect is going to be place your fighters in any spaces on the board. Each of your fighters is not in an opposing fighter's zone heals 1. Okay, so you get to do it with both Morgana and the Green Knight, and if the space you put them in does not contain an opposing fighter in that zone, you're going to heal 1 health for each one. And then if you use it as an actual defense card, after combat, move Morgana up to 5 spaces, including through opposing fighters. So that's very similar to a Hoax effect. On a 4-value defense, it's a very strong card there. It's Morgana specific, so the Green Knight can't use it, but if you use it as the scheme, you get to affect both of your fighters, hero and sidekick included, and both of them can heal 1 point, so pretty strong card. Not to mention the art on this card is really creepy, so that's a good one. And then the next card we're going to see is Necromancy, a 3-value versatile, 3 boost value, and 2 copies in the deck. The scheme effect is draw a card, select a discarded non-necromancy card to add to your hand. After combat, if used as a combat card, you'll select 1 random card from your discard pile to add to your hand. Wow, that seems like a really powerful effect both ways. Both effects having some recycling ability there. The after combat one is random, but still, I mean, that's like you could look at it like a 3-value versatile after combat draw card, except you're not drawing from your deck, you're getting it back from your discard pile. So A, you're not putting yourself closer to fatigue, and B, you can potentially set up, like if this was the second card you played, you'd guarantee obviously that that first card you played is the card you're going to get back, which could be really strong in certain scenarios. And then even the scheme effect, it will draw a card to make up for itself, and then also you're going to select a card from your discard pile and add it to your hand. It can't be the same card, Necromancy, otherwise you'd have an infinite loop and that would be stupid. I guess it wouldn't be that stupid because you draw a card anyway, so it's not actually a pass. So it'd be fine, so I don't know if it matters that there's that stipulation there. But anyways, super cool card, a lot of great uses, and this one's going to be really, really good, I think. So the next one up here is going to be called Power Over Nature, which is a 4-value versatile with 3 copies in the deck, 2 boost value. Scheme effect says discard the top card of your deck, deal damage to a fighter adjacent to Morgana equal to its boost value. If this value is 1, add the card to your hand. And then the after combat effect says move 1 fighter in this combat up to 3 spaces. This card is insanely good at first glance. I mean, even just the 4-value versatile saying after combat move 1 of the fighters in the combat up to 3 spaces, that's like better than a skirmish in every case, because you always get the effect of moving regardless of if you win the combat or not, and it's up to 3 spaces instead of 2. So that's crazy good right off the bat. I mean, a leap away moves 4, but you also have to win the combat, so this is probably better than a leap away as well. So crazy good. Looking at the scheme effect more closely, discard the top card of your deck. So that hurts because you're not going to get to use that card, and it's putting you closer to fatigue, but you're also dealing damage equal to the boost value. So I mean, we've seen some 2s and some 3s on boost values so far, so you know, a scheme that does 2 auto damage is pretty strong. And if it's a 1, you get to add that card to your hand, so then it's not wasted. So even if you know, quotes, low roll the RNG there, you're still going to get the card back to your hand. So I think that scheme effect is really powerful as well. And with 3 copies in the deck, I think Power Over Nature is going to be crazy good. So let's move on to the next card here. We're going to see a 3-value versatile called Arts of Avalon. 2 copies with a 3 boost value, another high one that would help out with that Power Over Nature we just talked about. This one's scheme effect says draw a card, discard a card, place the Green Knight anywhere in Morgana's zone. If he was defeated, he is set to 2 health. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you can even use it if he's dead, and then you can bring him back. And then after combat, if used as a combat card, it says heal Morgana 2. That's again, another just crazy card, like upping the ante here on like basic cards that we've seen. So with something like Distracted Triage from Dr. Jekyll, he only heals the 2 after the combat if he wins the combat, and that's hard to do with a 3-value card. This one, it's guaranteed heal 2, so that's really, really strong. The scheme effect, draw 1, discard 1, so you're not gaining any hand advantage there, and you're actually decreasing your deck by a card, putting you closer to fatigue, so that's not very good, but putting the Green Knight anywhere in the zone and resurrecting him if he's dead, I think you would only ever use this as a scheme if you are actually resurrecting him, otherwise it's totally not worth it. But bringing him back, setting him to 2 health, it's hard to tell how strong that is because we haven't seen any of his specific cards yet, so it might not be good enough. It really just depends on what cards he has to use. Otherwise, I think just the plain after combat effect of healing 2 is just super strong, so another good card. And then we'll look at Coerced Lessons, a 1 value defense card here, 2 copies in the deck with only 1 boost value. This is the first card we've seen with the 1 boost value, so if this was revealed off of that power over nature, you'd add this to your hand. But let's see, the scheme effect says, choose an opponent to reveal all of their hand except 1 card. Choose one of these cards for them to discard, gain an action. After combat, look at your opponent's hand, choose a card for them to discard. Okay, so if you use this as an actual defense card, it's only a 1 value, so it's not going to block much damage, but the effect is super strong, no matter what. I mean, unless they attack you with a feint. You get to look at their hand and choose a card for them to discard, and that is the best form of discarding in this game. We've only really seen that with schemes, like Eliminate the Impossible from Sherlock Holmes, and then only, I think, 1 time on a combat card, and that is Snicker Snack from Alice, which is one of the best attack cards in the game. I think adding that effect on of looking and choosing a card is even better on a combat card because, especially on a defense card, you're not using an action like you would if you were playing a scheme. So it sets you up for the counter attack when it comes to your turn. So it's still really powerful effect, but it's the trade-off, right? Because you only have a 1 defense value, so you're going to take some damage to do so. But looking at the scheme effect, you get to choose an opponent, and you look at their look at their hand, just like in Eliminate the Impossible. You get to choose which one to discard, except you don't get full hand knowledge because there's still that 1 card that you don't get to see and you can't discard. So it's hard to say because even 1 card makes a huge difference when it comes to hand knowledge, because if you have perfect information, you can make great decisions. But even if there's 1 unknown variable there, that can totally throw off everything. You do gain an action if you use this as a scheme, so it's not a pass, which actually my first thought is that nerfs the card a little bit. I think it would be a little bit more powerful if you didn't gain the action, but it's hard to tell without actually having played the deck. So this is definitely an interesting one. I think maybe a little bit lower on the power level than some of the other ones we've seen so far, but still a very interesting and cool card. And then we'll move on to a 0 value attack card here. Oh wow, 4 boost value though. So if you hit this one off of that scheme, that's massive damage. 4 damage from a scheme is just ridiculous. So that's a big high roll potential there. But it's called Vision of the Future, and it says immediately you may choose to discard this card and replace it with another attack or versatile card. If you did so with a Morgana card, its value is +1. Okay, let's think. So, immediately you discard this, replace it with another attack or versatile, I'm guessing from your hand, or else if it was from the discard pile, that'd be crazy. Because if you do this effect, it says you get +1. I mean, as long as it's a Morgana card. So obviously you want to use a Morgana card to get that +1, or else why would you even discard this card, you know? So I don't know, this card seems kind of weak actually, because it's almost like using 2 cards out of your hand just to get 1 attack, and it's only buffing it by a +1, right? So I guess in a way, this card is almost like a Nunchaku from Bruce, where you play it, costs the card, it doesn't necessarily cost the action, and it's going to buff your attack by +1, but I don't know, it's kind of weak it seems. Actually the first, I think, weak card that we've seen in the deck, but I could be wrong, who knows, we'll find out. But you don't have to use the effect, it's optional, so you can always use it as like a bait, you know, like you would with a regroup, so that's fine. But I think the biggest thing is just this high roll potential of that 4 boost value, hitting that off of the scheme. or even being able to use it to boost your maneuver, you know, in certain situations. I think the boost value is more important than anything with this card. So then we're going to see our first card specific to the Green Knight, and it is a 5 value attack, so that's pretty big. 3 boost value, that's also good. And it says this card must be played face up when you declare an attack. Ooh, so that's kind of brutal. Playing a card face up and giving your opponent perfect knowledge in order to choose the best defense for the situation really hurts a card like this. You know, when you attack with a 5, you're hoping that your opponent's going to feint it, right? Because most of the time, 5s are flat values and they don't have any effects to cancel anyways. So you want them to feint because that cancel effect is wasted and it's only a 2 value, so then you deal 3 damage over the feint, right? That's best case scenario most of the time. But with this card, you're declaring the attack and it has to be face up, so your opponent knows exactly what's coming and they can just throw down their skirmish or leap away or, you know, whatever their highest value defense card is and soak up most of that damage. So it's good to see a strong attack for the Green Knight, more incentive to keep him around or maybe revive him, you know, with like the arts of Avalon like we talked about. But I don't know, this one seems a little bit weak. So we'll move on, and we're going to see another Green Knight specific card. It's a 2 value versatile, 2 boost value, 2 copies, called Blow Returned in Kind. So it says after combat, deal the opposing fighter damage equal to the total damage dealt during this action, including damage occurring after this effect resolves. That's crazy because A, it's really strong, you know, because it's saying that it's going to include after combat damage from something like a counter punch, and even if you use this as defense and it resolves first, because defender resolves first, as we all know, you're still gonna, it kind of breaks the rules of the game in a way, because you're still gonna take into account the effects that are going to happen after this card resolves and deal damage accordingly. So it's kind of weird in that sense, but that obviously makes it super powerful. I'm not sure if there's any better way to maybe word this card or tweak it just so that there is a way to play around it, because it might be a little too strong being able to include that after combat damage, because I mean, you're also dealing damage equal to the damage you took in combat. So if they were to attack Green Knight with a counter punch and you defend with this, Green Knight takes 1 in combat, 3 minus 2 is the 1, and then the counterpunch is going to deal 2 after combat with its effect, and this will also deal that 2 back at them. So that's 3 damage dealt back. That's really strong. Without having played the deck, again, who knows how strong this actually is, because the Green Knight only has 4 health. It's kind of costly to bring him back because you got to play that scheme that also mills a card off your deck, so I don't know. This card, I think, has crazy high potential, but we'll see how it actually works out in practice. And then we're going to see our first Green Knight exclusive defense card, another 1 value defense card. So I personally am a big fan of 1 value defense cards like the Grail from King Arthur. I think they're super fun. It's fun to weigh like the risk versus reward of playing such a low value defense, because you know most likely you're going to be taking a lot of damage from the combat, but a lot of times they have crazy effects. Just look at the Grail. You know, if you pull it off, you gain a ton of health, upwards of 7, which is just insane. So I really like these. Again, this is a 1 boost value one, so if you mill it off of that scheme, you get to grab it back to your hand, so that's cool. It looks like there is only 1 copy in the deck, but it's called No Head, No Headache. Funny art there with the title. After combat, if the Green Knight would be defeated during this combat, instead return him to full health. So, awesome effect. I mean, it is similar to the Grail, except it's almost like a fail-safe. The Grail, you want to play it where you're not going to die, and then you boost up your health. This one, you want to play it where you are going to die, and then you boost up your health to full and protect you from dying. So super cool card there. Love it. It's a little sad that there's only 1 copy in the deck because it's such a good one, but I guess more copies would probably make him too good because then he'd be really hard to kill. So it makes sense that he's got low health. I mean, this would even trigger if they attacked him with a 5 into this while he was at full. So it's going to trigger, I think, pretty often. which makes this definitely a strong card. And let's see what's up next. We have, oh, look at that. It's the actual Aid of Morgana, just like we see in King Arthur's deck. So the red 4, it's an any, the first any we've seen. Only 1 copy, 2 boost value. After combat, draw 2 cards. So definitely a good card, and it's very fitting. So really there's not much to say about Aid of Morgana. Let's move on to the next one called Indirect Vengeance. Another red 4 any. 2 copies of this one, and another 3 boost value, so that's good to see. And it says, during combat, if the opposing fighter is a sidekick, you may choose to instead assess the damage result of this combat on their hero. Wow, that's crazy, crazy, crazy good. Man, because, okay, if you're attacking a 1 health sidekick, a lot of times people don't want to defend because they're like, oh, well, it's likely to die off anyways, you know, so I'll just not waste the card, I'll just let it go. But if you're attacking a sidekick, a 1 health sidekick with Indirect Vengeance, and you kill off the sidekick, and it's dealing 4 damage undefended, and then you can choose to instead deal the damage onto the hero. So like Robin Hood, for example, he's got a bunch of outlaws that are pretty disposable, or even Muldoon, and both of those ranged fighters have low health and no healing themselves. So being able to attack one of those 1 health sidekicks and deal 4 damage is ridiculous. Granted, it does it instead of the sidekick, so that 1 health sidekick isn't going to die off, but I would take that trade any day of keeping the sidekick alive and dealing 4 to the hero. That's just insane. So with just the existence of this card, any deck with 1 health sidekicks is going to have to be a lot more careful when it comes to defending those 1 health sidekicks. And because of that, there's going to be a ton of mind games to be played, and Morgana is just going to be able to take advantage of that greatly and make the opponent waste a bunch of cards that, you know, otherwise they wouldn't even be using. So Indirect Vengeance, crazy card, super cool. I think it's a really strong one, but obviously it depends on the matchup, because it's good against 1 health sidekicks and not good against someone like Invisible Man or Jekyll who don't have any. So yeah, we'll see. It's definitely matchup dependent, but really cool card here. And then we're going to see a 3 value versatile. It's an any again, 3 boost value, and only 1 copy in the deck, but it says Scabbard of Excalibur is the name. And during combat, the value of opposing fighter's card is 0. So, wow, that's really good. It's an impossible to see, but it's a 3 value instead of a 2. And so if you were to use this on offense and they don't cancel your effect, you're going to totally negate their value. You know, if it's like a skirmish, which is normally a 4, it's going to drop down to 0, and you're going to hit them for 3 damage over that. So that's really, really strong. Even if they feint it, they're still going to take a damage, so that's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, it won't. So like if you use this to defend against something like a Momentous Shift, yours triggers first because you're the defender. You're going to set it to 0, and then the shift effect is going to go off second and bump it back up to the 5. So anything like that, this card isn't going to work against, whereas something like Impossible to See does, because it has that stipulation where it sets it to 0 and then it cannot be changed. This one doesn't have that, so it can be changed from other effects, you know, during combat or whatever. But still, Scabbard of Excalibur, really strong card. There's only one copy in the deck, so this might be one of the cards you're looking to recycle often with that Necromancy card. But overall, really powerful, especially because it's an any, so it's a good card to see in the deck. So moving on then, we must be getting close to the end of the deck here. I feel like we've reviewed quite a lot of cards. But the next one's going to be a 2 value any, another 1 boost value, so you could potentially get it back off that scheme. And it's called Faked Weapons. So immediately, if the Green Knight is on the map, choose 1. If not, your opponent chooses for you. Okay. Replace the opposing fighter's card value with its boost value if it's lower, or cancel all effects on your opponent's card. So this is super cool, especially having 3 copies. This is essentially your feint, but it can be different than a feint too. It can be better in certain scenarios, because if you defend with this against something like a blank 5 with 3 boost value, or let's say larger than life, even better from Bigfoot. So it's a blank 6, it's got a 3 boost value. Instead, you can, instead of canceling the effects, which there are no effects to cancel, you can replace the card value with the boost value of 3. So the 6 drops to 3, you're only going to take 1 damage instead of 4. But if you see that their card is something like an ambush, where you don't want to do the boost value change, you want to cancel that effect so you don't got to discard, you can do that. So you want to keep the Green Knight on the field for this card specifically. That's the biggest reason I've seen so far to keep him alive. Because if the opponent gets to choose, obviously they choose the one that benefits them. And with an effect like this, 2 almost polar opposite effects, one of them's likely to be really good, and one of them is likely to not really do much at all, I think, in most scenarios. So keeping the Green Knight on the field for faked weapons is going to be really important. But overall, I just love this card. There's so many options. It's super cool. It's going to influence the gameplay, and I love this one. This is probably my favorite card I've seen yet. And then going from probably my favorite card I've seen to probably my least, it's a Regroup here, which is fine. I mean, there's 3 copies. It's your standard Regroup. After combat, draw a card. If you won the combat, draw 2 instead. Only a 1 boost value on this one, which honestly I really would have liked to see this at a 2, because if you hit a Regroup off that scheme, it's not the card you want to be getting back to your hand. You'd rather have just dealt the 2 damage and been done with it, honestly. So save the 1 boost value for the cool things like, you know, the faked weapons and the no head, no headache, and give Regroup a 2. I know some decks have Regroup at a 2. I think most decks have Regroup at a 2, so I don't know. You know, it's not my deck, not my decision, but it's Regroup. So let's move on to the next card. Okay, never mind. I guess that's the last card in the deck. So let's look at the deck stats real quick here. Looking at the totals, you got 9 attack cards, 16 versatiles, 5 defenses, for the total of 30, of course. And that's a good amount of defenses. I mean, if you add them together, you're looking at 21, which is a really high number of defenses, actually. But you got to consider some of them are Ennies, some of them are Morgana specific, some are Green Knight specific. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt, but still a high number of defense cards. And of course, you can use the versatiles as attacks, so you got plenty of attacks as always. And then also keep in mind that you can use all those scheme effects instead of the combat cards. So there are no actual schemes in this deck, but a lot of the cards that Morgana has can act as schemes if she chooses to use them that way, which is super cool. That's a really unique theme of this deck that we haven't seen anything like that before. So just a quick deck recap. You got your 3 regroups, that's standard. Faked weapons is going to be your pseudo feint or like a deduce strategy from Sherlock, so that's really good. Scabbard of Excalibur is almost like you're impossible to see. Indirect Vengeance, that's the card that those 1 health sidekicks are going to have to look out for, because it deals the damage to the hero instead if you choose to do so. Aid of Morgana, that's standard strong attack with draw. No head, no headache, that's a really great protection card for the Green Knight. The Blow Returned in Kind, that's the auto damage dealer from the Green Knight. It's almost like a recoil damage effect. Then you have Declared Attack, which is just your big attack, but it's telegraphed. Vision of the Future lets you discard it to play a different card instead with a +1 value. Coerced Lessons, that's one you get to look at your opponent's hand and discard a card. Arts of Avalon, that's the heal if you play it as the combat. Otherwise, you get to resurrect the Green Knight. Power Over Nature, that's the one where it's a better skirmish or leap away with the combat effect. And then if you use the scheme effect, that's the one I kept referring to, where you mill the top card of your deck and you deal the damage equal to the boost value. Then you got Necromancy, that's the recycling card. Then Stone Illusion, that's the one where it's almost like a hoax if you use the combat. Otherwise, the scheme lets you move your fighters anywhere, and then you get to heal potentially. And Shadow Stalking Camelot is that's the one where you get to take a free scheme action after combat if used as a combat card, or you can put her adjacent and you get that free attack with the +1 value. So really cool deck, having so much versatility between the scheme effects or the combat effects. I think that is what makes this deck stand out, obviously, and it's really hard to tell how that's going to play out in practice because we've never seen anything like that. Keep in mind you can only use the scheme effects once per turn, as stated on the ability. So it's not like you can just scheme all over the place once a turn. So interesting restriction there. I really like that most of the scheme effects involve drawing cards from your deck or discarding the top card of your deck, otherwise known as milling, because otherwise you'd have a whole deck full of passes and you'd be like the ultimate fatigue fighter. So I think it's really well designed in that aspect, because it kind of levels out the power of your fatigue play, not having a million passes. So that was well done. And then I really love how the Green Knight has all the green themed color on its art. That's super cool. Just a little side note that I thought of. And another thing is there's not that many any cards. These are it here. I mean, your Feint is basically an any, that's good. But then you have Regroup, which is just a regroup, that's whatever. And then you have just these few. So the Green Knight doesn't have a whole lot of cards to use, and he only has 4 health, so keeping him alive might be kind of difficult, but you really want to keep him alive, so you get to be the one controlling your faked weapons. So I think keeping the Green Knight is going to be pivotal in piloting this deck, to success. And I could be wrong. Maybe you can just let him go and Morgana can pull all the heavy lifting herself, because she does have really, really powerful cards. Up until, a Vision of the Future, I was like, holy cow, this card is so strong, because I think all of them are just ridiculous, and the versatility of being able to choose whether or not you want to use the scheme effect or the combat effect, depending on the situation, is just huge. And that's a big advantage that other decks don't have, and it's hard to quantify, because we've never seen anything like that before, and you really just got to play out the game, and it's going to differ every game. So really hard to predict here what's going to happen, but I'm really excited to try it out. So let's head on over to Tabletop Simulator and we'll try out Morgana LeFay. Alright, we should be good. So anybody watching, welcome to Playtesting Guild round number 12. This time featuring Morgana LeFay by TheKnight618. And joining me today, I got Gary M., one of the master deck makers, I would say, in the Discord community. So how you doing, Gary?
Doing all right. Certainly quantity over quality.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think you got a bit of both. But, yeah, so you had a chance to check out the deck ahead of time, right?
Yeah, I parsed through the deck. I probably don't know all the cards by heart at this point, but I have a general idea of how the deck's going.
Okay, so any initial thoughts?
I'm interested to see how it plays out. It looks like at a glance, most of her really good combat cards are the cards that have the scheme alternate effects on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be, there should be some good decision points in the deck. I don't know, I guess I'll have to see how it plays. I'm a little concerned about the health on Morgana. I feel like the health on the Green Knight is looking interesting. Like, I think that's an interesting place to have him with the number of helper effects that his cards provide.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll be kind of curious to see how well Morgana can stay in the fight, especially if her better cards are going out to those scheme effects.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the decisions you're going to have to make between the schemes and actually using them as combat cards.
Yeah.
One thing I really thought was interesting was I think it was well designed in terms of, like, if all your cards were schemes and a bunch of them were passes, you'd be the ultimate fatigue fighter, right? But they did a good job because they either have like draw a card or mill a card off the top of your deck, or even just gain an action tacked onto the scheme effects so that you're not just the ultimate in fatigue. So I think that was really well done.
Yeah, I think from a design standpoint too, that tends to dovetail really well because you wanna avoid that negative gameplay loop where you're just delaying the game, but also it's gonna make the character more enjoyable for the person who's playing it. especially if they're not a competitive player, because a casual player is going to have more fun in those tack-on effects, even if they're not thinking about the fact that it advances the game state. It feels better to do
Yeah,
something and get an action. It feels better to do something and replace that card.
for sure. Yeah, it definitely feels more powerful on the surface when you get to do more things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really interesting. And kind of like going back to what you said about the Green Knight, his health total is so low, only 4. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting because, usually with sidekicks, you want to kind of use them to block off your hero a lot of times. But it might be the other way around in this matchup, kind of similar to like Buffy and Giles.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with some of the effects that she has that rely on him. Um, I think there's going to be some cool moments that you can get out of the Green Knight.
Mm-hmm. Especially like it was that faked weapons, I think it was called, card.
Yeah.
That's the one where it's like you get to choose whether or not like it's a feint or it's basically a deduced strategy, and you just pick the better of the two
Yep.
in the circumstance, and that's insanely powerful.
Yeah.
Because if you feint like a log from Bigfoot and you take 4, you feel terrible. But you get to see the card first, and then you decide what effect you want to do. So obviously, you just make it a 3 instead of a 6, and then you're
Yeah.
happy. So, but that's the one that relies on the Green Knight being on board. So if the opponent kills him off, I mean, you're out of luck. They get to choose, and obviously they're going to choose the one that's going to hurt you the most.
Yeah. Does she have any other feints in the deck, or is that their only feint?
That's the only feint. There's that
That's what I
one
thought.
copy of it was like I think the Scabbard of Excalibur, and that was the one. It's kind of like an
Okay.
impossible to see. Um, but there's only
Right.
one copy, and also it doesn't lock in the card's value at a 0 like Impossible to See does. So if it was like a momentous shift attacking into that,
Right.
it wouldn't work because the shift would boost after it was set to 0.
Yeah. And then there's for Green Knight, there's no head, no headache. It's like
Yeah.
a net effect bewilderment, basically.
Yep. I love that card. It's super cool because like
Yeah.
this is kind of closely related in like the theme of the deck to Arthur, So
Yep.
and that card is almost similar, almost like the opposite of the Grail, where you want to stay alive with the Grail and you want to die with this one.
Yeah.
So really cool. I love that card. Again, there's only one copy like the Grail, so very similar. My
Yeah.
first reaction to like this deck when I was reviewing it was the first half of the deck, all those Morgana cards that can be used as schemes. I was like, holy cow, these are so strong.
Yeah.
It seemed crazy, and then it kind of
Yeah. It's a
died
little
down.
overwhelming when you first look through it.
Oh yeah, because like you said, there's 2 different effects. They're like 2 different cards essentially. So who knows how it's going to play out in practice?
Yeah.
But super
I think
interesting.
I think from a design standpoint, this deck is treading into territory that Unmatched Maker isn't equipped to handle quite yet.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like when you think about it, versatile cards are attack, defense, split cards, and what they've basically created is attack scheme, defense scheme, and versatile scheme split cards.
Right. Yeah, it's really crazy. Nothing like we've seen so far in the game, but that's what
Yeah.
should make it so fun, hopefully. So, one card I guess I want to point out is this declared attack for the Green Knight.
Hmm.
I think like obviously a 5 value is a strong card, right? But to have you play it face up, it really nerfs it because your opponent can just play their biggest
Yeah.
defense. Um,
Yeah.
so I'd like to
I
maybe
w-
see that like even a higher value than a 5, even a
yeah,
6 or
I think it would be fair as a 6, especially since it's on a low health sidekick. It's easy to get that card eliminated from the deck.
mm-hmm.
At the same time, I do feel like the 3 boost on it is good for like the top deck scheme damage card that she has.
Yep.
I feel like it's gonna lend well to that if you do lose the Green Knight early.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree that that face up play is a huge drawback that you can run into with that.
Oh yeah. And then another one funny thing I was thinking about was with where is it? Here we go. Necromancy. So, yeah, with this Necromancy card, it seems super strong because it's like drawing a card but adding from the discard pile, so it's even better because you're not going closer to fatigue like you would from a
Yeah.
draw. And you can kind of imagine if you had two of these in your opening hand, right? And you just keep looping it. That could be insane. I mean, it's only a 3 value, but still, to have like
Yeah.
unlimited uses of this. I guess it's not going to be unlimited because at some point you're going to end up overdrawing from the hand limit because you're going to have to maneuver. And so you're going to have to
That is
discard.
true.
So it's not going to work forever, but even if it works for like
Yeah.
a couple of turns, that could
So
be
what
really
would that
good.
be? So opening hand 5. So you're going to get 4 maneuvers in before you're going to be forced to do something else, and it has a chance to break the loop then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's too bad. I mean, it is a 3, so I mean, if you're in that loop, your opponent knows what your game plan is, so they can start chipping 4s.
That's true. They can start getting in damage, and
Yeah.
she only has
I
13
mean,
health to work
yeah,
with,
yeah,
so
exactly.
yeah, I don't know. It was just an interesting interaction I thought about.
Yeah.
Even the scheme effect of it seems really, really good because you could
Oh yeah.
get back that other one that you mentioned. Which one is that? Here, power over nature. So you can
Yes.
use this scheme to deal auto damage, and there's 3 copies in the deck. And then you can even get it back multiple times with the necromancy. So that just seems super powerful too, because you can potentially just win without even attacking, which is crazy. So I don't know. It's hard to say, how this deck's gonna work out because there's so many options and it's such a foreign concept. But
Yeah.
excited to try it out. So you're gonna play Morgana first, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Who do you want to play against, or who do you think would be a good test? Does it matter to you?
Um, I think it should be a character that does have a sidekick for indirect vengeance. Um, so that we can kind of get a feel for that as well.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
Indirect Vengeance is another insane card. I mean, that was the one that deals
yeah,
the damage. Instead of doing it to the sidekick, it deals to the hero, right?
yeah, that is vicious.
Yeah, so 1 health sidekicks, most of the time you don't want to defend. You just want to let them go. But you don't want to do that against Morgana because you could be taking 4 damage to your hero, and that's brutal.
Go ahead and try out Dracula. I'm curious.
Dracula? Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So, I mean, with Dracula, being able to mist form right up to Morgana, no matter how far away she is, being ranged, she can stay away. But Dracula's got the mist form to get right up there, and the beast form could deal massive damage, especially with only 13 health. It might be easy lethals.
yeah. We'll see what happens. I think if Drac focuses too much on her and doesn't put time into the Green Knight, I think he could be in a situation where he's going to run into problems against fake weapons.
Mm-hmm. Big time. I agree with that, and that's going to be the trick of the deck, I think, or of the matchup
Yeah.
especially. And Drac doesn't have a lot of ways to actually deal damage, outside of beast forms, and you don't want to use a beast form on the Green Knight, especially when he can come back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Blow returned in kind against a beast form is gonna be bad.
oh yeah, you probably lost yourself the game if that happens. So, this is actually going to be a really interesting matchup. I'm excited for this one. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, let me place my sisters. Start one there, and one there. Okay, so I'm going to start with maneuver. Go 1, 2. One, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. I will have the sister attack the Green Knight.
Okay. He will defend.
All right, what do you got? Ah, there it is. Man,
Yeah.
faked weapons.
Yeah, so
So
I'm gonna feint that.
obviously, yep. Man, that's such a strong card. It's crazy. And the fact that you can potentially recycle it is crazy too.
Yeah.
So, that's my turn. You're up.
All right. I'm gonna maneuver first. Actually, instead of putting her there, I think I'm gonna drop her there
Okay.
so she has that better coverage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Gonna put an attack into Dracula.
Okay. Here's that range advantage coming in. Man, I have no idea what this could be. So let's just do this. I'll put out look into my eyes. Oh, wow. So that's well, actually,
Immediately,
yours is
so I have
immediate.
to.
So
Yep.
yours is before mine, yeah, but it's optional, so.
Yep. So I'm gonna do it. So I replace it with another attack or versatile card, and if it's a Morgana card, the value is +1. Now I will replace it with Power Over Nature, making it a 5.
Oh boy. So yours is a 5 and mine is a 3. And so I'm going to take 2.
Yep.
Um and then you get your after combat effect.
Yep.
So the crazy thing about this card too is that it's a better skirmish in every circumstance. You know, and skirmish is already a strong
Yeah.
card, so really good.
All right, and then I am done.
Okay. I will maneuver. Well, you only have 3 cards in hand, so what's the worst that can happen if I just approach?
Something horrible.
Potentially. I will maneuver again, though. Um... hmm. And I'll end there.
Okay. I will maneuver. Then I'm going to maneuver again. Your turn.
Hmm. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to deal the Green Knight a damage with Drac. And draw 1. And then use my first action to attack the Green Knight.
Okay. Green Knight is going to take it.
Oh, okay. That's big. So since you're in that tri-zone, I do get all 3. So he will die off. Well, my next action, I guess I have to maneuver. Can I pin you? I guess I can. Kind of. If the sisters can survive. Your turn.
All right. I am going to use my ability to play this as a scheme.
And, okay, let's see. Place any space on the board and you heal 1 if you're not in my zone. Okay, cool. That'll get you out of the pin.
Quick clarification from Knight. If Green Knight is dead, I do not get to replace him on the board with this card, right?
That's a good question. I would think
Based on the
not.
wording of the other cards, I don't think you can.
Right. Yeah, let's get confirmation on that. He says no, not with the stone illusion, so that will not bring
That's
him
what I
back.
thought.
Right.
Good. All right, so I am going to place Morgana all the way over here. And then for my second action, I will maneuver.
At first I was like, wait, why are you going in my zone? But you're still at full health, so the healing doesn't matter.
All right, back to you.
Okay. Ah, you're way too far away. So, I'll start by maneuvering. I will boost with a Thirst for Sustenance. So I can go 5. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sister will attack Morgana.
Okay.
What do you got? Okay. So you're gonna take 3. And then yours goes first, unfortunately for you.
Yep.
So
All right.
still a crazy powerful effect though.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get rid of Do My Bidding.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I love these kind of cards too because like the low value, it's such a trade-off, you know, if you're willing to take the damage, but in return get such a powerful effect. I love those.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'll get my hand back and then I draw 1. And it's your turn.
All right. So Morgana will attack Dracula.
I'm gonna defend with the dash. Oh, nice. So I'll take 1. You draw 2, and I'm gonna move. Let's see, 3 spaces. I'll go up to the red.
Okay. All right. Second action, I am going to scheme Hearts of Avalon.
Okay.
So I draw a card and then discard a card. So I will actually discard Vision of the Future. And then I can place the Green Knight anywhere in my zone and set his health to 2.
Nice.
All right.
Okay, so now I gotta worry about your feint again. I'm gonna maneuver first. Let's go 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. I'm sure you know what's coming next. Ravening Seduction. So
Okay.
I'll deal Morgana 3 damage. And you're up.
All right. Why not? Scheming Stone Illusion.
Okay. Ooh. That's nice too because now Morgana's gonna heal 1.
She's not.
Oh, the sister. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Ah, too bad.
No, this is just a super aggressive pen. And Green Knight's going for it.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
Oh, oh.
Oh man, that was crazy. I did not expect that at all.
All
Oh,
right,
jeez. Like
back
you
to
said,
you.
it's aggressive. I mean, you got only 2 cards in hand. Yeah, I think I'm going to use my ability on Morgana.
Okay.
So I'll draw 1. And you're not going to be happy about this one, but I'm going to prey upon. So deal 1 to each, and then I heal 2.
Okay.
And I have another prey upon.
Yep. Yeah, they were. I saw them both in your hand.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Well, I'm still at a net negative from the previous turn, so not the worst thing, I guess. You're up.
All right. Come on, high roll. Scheming power over nature.
Oh, man. At least your 2 4s, I think, are gone.
All right.
Oh,
Oh.
my gosh. The
Okay.
regroup.
At least I hands.
Yeah, you get it back to hand. Yep, and I take 1. So, funny thing, when I was reviewing the deck, is that I was like, man, I really wish the regroup was like a 2 boost value, because then you wouldn't get it back to hand, like, and then you would save those recursion effects for like the good cards, like the no head card and the one you used earlier to look at my hand and discard.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of a shame that you get stuck low rolling a regroup and then you deal less damage and you have to get a regroup back to hand, but
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. And there we see it. I really wish I had a beast form right now because you can't use your cancel and you're only at 4. But unfortunately I don't. So I'm gonna maneuver. I guess I'm gonna maneuver again. I don't know if I want to end next to you because that scheme is brutal. So I'm gonna hop back 1 and then I'll pass it to you.
Alright, I'm gonna maneuver. Okay, Morgana's gonna attack Dracula.
Okay. Gonna defend with the dash. So I'm gonna take 1. And mine will go first, and then you're gonna get to scheme.
Yep.
See, this is tricky because I'm tempted to end right next to you so that I can pull off my ability, but I also don't want to get schemed with another one of these.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna play it safe and go 1, 2, 3.
All right. So my free scheme is Necromancy.
Nice. That's a really good one here.
And actually, that's a... Oh
Wow.
no, that is in my discard pile now. So I could get that back.
That's
So
so
I draw a
strong.
card.
Yeah, you draw 1 and you get 1 back. That's 2. That's a +2. I never thought about that interaction, but that's a really powerful one.
Yeah. Boy, what do I want to grab here?
So many options.
I know.
I also mentioned in my review about Necromancy being the infinite loop if you could take another Necromancy back. Of course, it says you can't do that, but at first I was like, oh my gosh, I get why, because it'd be too powerful. But then I was
Yeah.
thinking about it more, and I'm like, well, you draw a card, so it's not a pass, so I don't see
Yeah.
anything wrong with it.
Yeah, that's actually not, you know, it's not bad. You could probably take the non-necromancy part off of that, not have it
Yeah,
be an issue.
exactly right. So, I mean, less card text, the better, if you can still get your point across.
All right, so I'm gonna pull back an Arts of Avalon,
Okay, yeah, seems like a good choice.
and then I am done.
Okay. So now I got to worry about you healing 2 after I attack you. That card is so strong too. Like
Yeah.
automatic heal 2 is huge, especially when you can get it back. So I'm gonna maneuver. One, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And Dracula's gonna attack Morgana.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Um, yeah. Okay.
What do you got?
Checkmate.
Yeah, because now I get to pick, so obviously I'm going to pick to
Yeah.
make mine a 4, which is going to deal the 2, and then I'll pitch 2 cards for 4 damage. So,
You don't even have to.
uh,
You can cancel your effects on your card and you'll hit me for 4
oh,
damage.
yeah.
That's why it was checkmate.
Yeah, good point. That's funny. Um, I guess faked weapons actually does not do too well against beast form.
It does all right. It doesn't do great if I'm at 4 health.
Right, that's the problem. You needed the other one, the 3 value that makes it a 0. Because then I
Yeah.
still could have boosted up, but I only could have boosted to a 5, and you would have been alive at 1. Yeah, let's see what you had. Blow returned in kind, huge if obviously you had the Green Knight. That regroup, And the Avalon. Yeah, interesting. So the Green Knight, he seems pretty crucial,
Yeah.
at least in this matchup. But he's really easy to kill with all my scheme damage. And that still leaves the beast form for Morgana. So,
Yeah.
seems like a tough matchup. So now you want to switch it around and you play an official character?
Yeah.
Okay, who are you
Yeah.
thinking of?
I'm gonna play Arthur.
Arthur. Okay, that's perfect, actually. I didn't think about that.
Kudos, Knight. Whether you intended this or not, they are a perfect mirror.
What do you mean?
So Arthur is a high health melee with a low health ranged sidekick. She's a moderate health ranged hero with a low health melee sidekick.
Yeah,
So it's melee versus range on the heroes and melee versus range on the sidekicks.
that's funny. Good point.
He does get props for reusing Aid of Morgana.
Yeah, that was funny. That was perfect. So do I want to go first or second? I think I want to go first. It's going to take me a little bit to reread some of these. It's like you got to learn 2 cards in one for
Yeah.
a majority of them. Although the effects kind of are similar between the schemes and the after combat for a lot of them, so that's cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a good job theming the scheme to the in combat effect. I think they tie really nicely without it being this whiplash of I have to remember that this card does 2 completely different things.
Yeah, totally. Definitely helps lighten the cognitive load.
Yeah.
I think I'll start the Green Knight back there.
Okay. I'm going to drop Merlin here.
Okay. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to start with a maneuver. Now this is tough. I don't know if I want to go for Merlin or not, because he's got such good defense cards.
Yeah.
But if I can kill him, I'm going to have a big advantage because I'll have range and you won't. But that's like so much health to go through, and I don't know how much damage output Morgana actually has, you know? Well, I'm going to go 1, 2. I'll put him back there. And then I'm going to have Morgana attack Arthur.
Okay.
Alright, what do you got? Alright, perfect. It's not a feint. So, you're going to take 1. And yours goes first. Okay,
Yep.
okay. Now I get a scheme action here for free.
Yep.
So what I'm gonna do is play Coerced Lessons. So I get to choose you,
Yep.
and you have to reveal every card in your hand except 1, and then I get to discard 1 and gain an action, which is crazy because that makes this into a combo attack. So you pick the one you want to keep, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, what do we got? 2 skirmishes and an Aid of Morgana. And then I'm going to gain an action after this.
Oh, question for you, Knight. If you were to take the scheme action as one of your 2 actions, and then you play Shadow Stalking Camelot after it, does that immediate scheme action it gives you let you break the 1 scheme per turn rule on her character card so that she could take 2 schemes?
Great question. That's really, really important. When I reviewed this Shadow Stalking Camelot card, I didn't think much of it, but seeing it in play, I think this card is really powerful, actually.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it is super awesome, and I didn't expect that. He
Yeah.
said, no, it does not. So,
Okay.
well, no, it does not, meaning that you can double up on the schemes, or no? It does not break the rule, that is, he says. So
Okay.
if you've already used Morgana's special ability to play a scheme, you're
Yep.
not able to use Shadow Stalking Camelot's effect. That's correct. One scheme per turn, period. Okay, okay.
Okay. Makes
Good
sense.
to know. I mean, that definitely does decrease the power of this card a little bit, but still good and super fun.
Yeah.
So, I get to discard and gain an action. I'm going to discard, actually, your 8 of Morgana and leave you with the skirmishes and whatever that unknown is. Okay, so I get one more action,
Yep.
and I'm going to have Morgana hit Arthur. So
Okay.
this will be my last action, essentially.
Yeah. I'll block it.
The skirmish, yep, as I was hoping. So there's that regroup. So you get your effect.
I'm gonna stay where I am.
Okay, and then I get to draw one.
Actually, yeah, I should move because now I'm low on cards.
Right, that was my plan. Just like run your hand out, and it worked really well. That was fun. And you're up.
Okay. I'm going to maneuver. And then Merlin is going to attack.
Okay, so yeah, really this could be anything because you got 2 unknown cards. What's the worst it could be? You didn't move him out of his space, right?
No. It's
Okay,
not a momentous
so
shift.
yeah, it's not a shift. That's good. I'm gonna defend with this. Stone Illusion. Ew, a regroup. I mean, at least I still get my effect, so I get to move 5, so I'll go 1, 2... Yeah, I'll go there.
Okay. And then I have to draw one. All right.
I'm gonna maneuver. I'll go there. And then... Oh, actually, I'm gonna go here. I'll have Morgana attack Arthur.
Okay.
Okay, what do you got? The skirmish? Okay. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get to heal. I'm already at max, but you get your skirmish effect. And then you're up.
Okay. Arthur's gonna attack.
Okay, I'll defend with this.
Okay.
Okay, so I take 1 and you take 1.
And then I move up to 4 spaces. And I will maneuver. All right. Your turn.
Okay. Another interesting thing with this card here, the blow returned in kind, is that it says including damage after the effect resolves. So, I mean, what do you think about that? It kind of like breaks the rules of the game, you know,
Yeah.
with the timings. Because
Yeah.
if something
I agree.
like a counterpunch attacks into this, right? This would go
Yeah.
first, but then the counterpunch will go dealing the damage. But this is saying that no, it's still going to deal the 2 from the after combat of the counterpunch.
Yeah. Um. I think from the intention of it, it's fine. Um, I would say from a wording standpoint, like the wording, it does what it says the wording does, which is fine. From a mechanical standpoint, I think there's other ways that you could approach it,
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't be exactly what this card is and does. It would be
Right.
something like uh, at the end of the turn, deal damage to the opposing fighter equal to all damage that was dealt to the Green Knight this turn, something like that. Or all
Yeah.
damage the Green Knight dealt this turn.
Right. Right. I think that
Which
would
I
be a
mean,
good way
like
to do it.
that's a much more powerful version as well, and it avoids the timing issue that can arise out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I get what he's going for with this. I think it's fine. Like it's just important that players understand what the card does, and I think it's easy to understand what this one does,
Mm-hmm.
despite the fact that it breaks the normal timing conventions.
Right. And if you made it so it was just a standard, deal the opposing fighter damage equal to the damage dealt this action, or in combat, that's just the same or similar to something like Jekyll's card where you draw equal to the damage dealt.
Yeah.
But that would make it much less powerful, obviously, because then you don't get to deal extra damage from after combat effects like wily fighting or counterpunch or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, there is one easy way to resolve it. So if the after combat effect was deal the opposing fighter damage equal to the total damage dealt during this action, cut off the end of it, give it a passive effect that says this card always resolves last.
Ah, yeah.
So then, whether you're attacking or defending, the opponent always has to resolve their effect first. So then, counterpunch hits you, you deal all the damage back to them.
Mm-hmm. That's a great
It
idea, too.
also it also means if you kill the Green Knight with counterpunch, well, actually, no, it doesn't matter because he's not on the. It doesn't. He doesn't have to be on the board. My
Right,
mistake.
yeah, it doesn't care about adjacency or whatever, so it
Mm-hmm.
would still deal the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of modifying the text, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
So
without changing the attention at least.
Right, yeah, and without it, breaking the rules as it currently stands. I mean, we get it, it works fine,
Yeah.
but just interesting.
All right. I think it's your turn, right?
So
Yeah, because I maneuvered. I drew my card.
yeah, did you want to move with your maneuver?
I moved Merlin. I don't know that I want to move Arthur. See, that's the thing. Like, if I'm going to move Arthur, I should have pressured her. I kind of need to recoup back here because I have a low hand size. So I think I'm going to keep him where he is.
Yeah, and either way, even though you're in the dual color, going to the single brown doesn't really benefit you because
Yeah.
I still have to boost to get into that purple color anyways, so. Okay, so my turn?
Yep.
Alright, so I'm going to start with the maneuver. I mean, we're both really low on cards in hand, so I'll go 1, 2. I think I'm actually going to approach up here. Morgana will hit Merlin.
Okay.
Oh, that hurts.
Woo.
I wanted to sneak that in there. Would have been huge. Lucky for you, you get to negate it all.
Where do I want to put him? Do I want to drop him there? I feel like we're not playing those zones now. I feel like we're playing these zones.
Yeah, we haven't done really anything back in the white and like the tan or peach.
Screw it. I'll put him there.
Right in the center.
I want to put him there because of the colors, but I don't want to. I don't want to put him there because he's going to get pinned.
Yeah, exactly. All right. That was my turn, so you're up.
Okay. I am going to maneuver. Okay, and then I'll maneuver a second time. All right, your turn.
Maneuver. This is hard. I'm gonna go 1, 2, and 1, and I'm gonna maneuver again. I'm gonna try and pin you and see how that works out. Your turn.
Okay. All right. Arthur will attack Morgana.
I'm gonna do the fake weapons. And obviously I'm gonna cancel your effect.
Okay. All right, and then I will maneuver. All right, your turn.
Okay. I'm gonna maneuver. Let's maneuver one more time. And
Okay.
you're up.
Okay. I'll maneuver. Maneuver again. Interesting. All right. Your turn.
This is funny. We're both like just sitting here building our hand back up in place. I guess we both don't have that much draw power though, so it's
Yeah,
expected.
you get a few trickling in off your schemes, but other than that,
Yeah, if I had them. I wish I had some of those right now. I'll maneuver. I'll have Morgana attack Arthur.
okay, I'm taking it.
Aw, man, why did it have to be this one? I mean, cool, I get cards, but it's the same net card amount as if you would have
Yeah.
defended. So, man, that's unfortunate. But okay, I'll draw 2 and you're up.
Okay. Gonna start with Command the Storms.
Oof. Okay.
And Merlin will attack Morgana. Actually, I'm sorry. Morgana's not in a space room. Yeah.
I mean, you can change where you move Merlin.
No, Merlin will attack the Green Knight.
Okay, okay. So this time it could be a shift. I'm gonna try this out. We're gonna go with the no head, no headache. And hope it's a big card.
Okay.
Please.
That's a
Yes!
shift.
Alright. So yeah, that would kill me, so instead I get to go to
Yep.
full health. Awesome. That was
All
really
right,
strong
over
there.
to you. Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay.
Man, that suck it. That was another regroup.
Oh, I know, dude. I'm so glad it wasn't. I'm gonna have Morgana attack Arthur.
Okay. Taking it.
Oh, man. You're just taking all the best ones. So that's just a 2. Not great. Well, hopefully I'll attack again. Let's try and get another one in there.
No, I'm taking it.
Awesome, awesome. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, I was trying to... I didn't know if you had, like, maybe a skirmish or, like, the other movement one, the purple that lets you move 5. So I wanted to try and cancel that with the faked weapons. But looks like you
Gotcha.
just don't have defense. Lucky for me.
Yeah.
So that'll deal the damage. And then I even get to do my awesome scheme here. So I'm going to discard the top
Nice.
card of my deck and hope for... I think both of my 4s are still in here. So big money, no whammies. Okay, I'll take
Oh,
that.
not bad.
Yeah, 3 damage is huge. So that just
Okay.
shows the power of this card right here. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, and you're up.
Okay. I will maneuver. And Merlin will attack Morgana.
I'm gonna take it.
Okay.
3, okay. Not the worst thing.
Okay, so move back down here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my turn?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna maneuver. Might be risky, but I'm gonna boost with a power over nature.
Okay.
Go 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4 actually. And I'm gonna have the Green Knight attack with the declared attack, and hope you didn't draw
Okay.
defense.
Oh, I had it.
Oh my gosh, you had it. Yeah, you just didn't want to play it because it wasn't the good
1,
time.
2, 3, 4, and back up to 8.
Nice. All right, well played. And there you go. Me playing this face up. I mean, it just played in perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really a hindrance on this card. I would like to see a little bit higher of a value.
Yeah, because honestly, if that was a 6, I would have been really afraid to attempt that. That's why I didn't mind taking the hits the last couple of turns.
Right. All right, you're up.
Okay, I'm. And I'll maneuver again. All right, your turn.
Dang. I gotta boost. Okay, I'll maneuver. This is looking like a completely different game than it did last turn. Like, I dealt huge damage, and I thought you were out of defenses. I thought I was going to get you down to 1 health, and now all of a sudden you're at 8 with hand advantage. And I can't keep up pressure because of my hand, and I'd have to boost to even attack you, and then I'd be down to 1 card. So I'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, and maneuver again. One, 2, and 1, and it's your turn.
Okay. I'm going to maneuver, and I will. With my maneuver, I'll move Merlin 2, and then I'm going to command the storms.
Yep.
Whoa! Whoa!
You killed me. I really wish you didn't have that command the storms there.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, I'll maneuver. I'm gonna boost with blow returned in kind. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, Morgana will attack Arthur.
Okay. Defending for once.
That's good. What do you got? Ah, faint. Yep, so I just deal 1. And your turn.
Okay. I will maneuver.
I think one thing is that feints are really powerful against Morgana.
Yeah.
Against Morgana or Green Knight, so like the deck in general, because the Green Knight, you're not going to feint when he plays his power card because you see it coming. And
Right.
anything by Morgana, I mean, it might be a 4 at best, but that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Okay, maneuvering a second time. I think actually I'll put Merlin over here.
Okay.
Done.
All right. Man, making me boost again. And you're up in the deck count. Gonna maneuver. I'll maneuver again. Go 1, 2, and it's your turn.
Okay. I am going to prophecy.
Yep.
So what's the best way to do this?
I would take your hand and put it all face down and just drag it to the table so I can't see it, and then draw 4 and do the effect.
All right. Then I will maneuver.
Okay.
Okay, back to you.
Okay. I'll maneuver. Let's go 1, 2. I'll keep the Green Knight. Well, yeah, I'll keep him where he's at. And then I will have Morgana attack Arthur.
Okay. Actually, do that one. Okay.
Alright. Okay, so no damage. You get to move, and then I get to heal too.
Okay.
And your turn.
Okay.
This is a little worrisome. Like right there, that was such a tough decision whether or not I wanted to actually use this card, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's my last one. Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
yeah,
So
it
like
is.
now
It
I
is.
can't bring back the Green Knight. So if you kill him, I mean, I'm just out of luck. I don't get to use my like faked weapons anymore.
So Arthur is going to attack her boosted.
Oh, great. Now, how would this work uh
If you play your
if I
feint card, you screw me either way. Because if you set me down to 1, that's why I haven't been worried about killing the Green Knight. If you set me down to 1, my boost is ineffective, and if you feint me, my boost is ineffective.
True, but well, your boost would still bump over the value that I set it to, right?
No, because the boost happens on reveal. So you're going to set it to 1 during the immediate phase.
Oh, good point.
At
Yeah.
least that's my understanding
Well,
of the
well,
timing on Arthur's ability, is
let's
that it
think
happens
about
at reveal.
with Impossible to See though. I don't remember exactly how that reads, but
Uh,
that one, Arthur's boost value still bumps up over it. Yeah, this is the not so fun, at least to most people, part of playtesting is rulings.
Impossible to see.
So here's Impossible to See.
King Arthur's boosts are not discarded because the card effects are not canceled, so his boost can get through. But that doesn't state whether.
So Impossible to See says immediately the value of your opponent's attack or defense is 0 and cannot be changed by card effects. Other card effects still happen.
Right, so Arthur's gets through because it's not a card effect.
Right, so now let's compare to the fake weapons card.
Actually, no, that's interesting because that means that Arthur's effect has to happen some point after immediate then.
It's almost like it's a continuous effect, right? That's always applying,
Yeah,
like Alice's
like Alice. Yeah,
+2,
that
yeah,
that makes sense.
or like Raptors. So if I play fake weapons and I change the boost value, then it's going to go down to whatever the boost value, and then it's going to bump up by the boost card from Arthur's ability.
Right.
Interesting. And now,
So then
same
you would want to
thing.
fix it.
Yeah, right. Well, unless it's maybe Excalibur.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
Right?
point.
Because if it's Excalibur and boosted with a 3, it's going to end up being a 6 regardless over a
Yeah.
2. So no matter what, you can deal 4 over that card. Interesting. The other thing I was thinking about was, where did it go? This one. Scabbard of Excalibur. So this one would make it a 0 for your card value, but then your boost would go through.
Yeah.
But I guess it doesn't matter because this is a 3, so even your highest boost wouldn't deal any damage.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so this card is bad to play, or this card is good to play into your boost attacks. But unfortunately, I only have one. It's in the discard. This card, Faked Weapons, is not great to play into your boost card. If it's Excalibur, that is. So I think this is pretty safe. So I'll do this.
Okay.
Stone Illusion. Oh, okay. So it's currently a 5. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
All right, well that makes it an 8, so I'm going to take 4. Crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was your first action, so I want to get out of here and go... If I go to pure purple, Merlin can't hit me, so I'll go there.
All right. Second action, I will maneuver. All right, your turn.
Okay. I'll maneuver. I'll go 1, 2. Green Knight's still good right there. I'm going to have Morgana attack Arthur.
Okay.
Feint, please. Yes. That'll do. I'll take that.
Okay.
Mine's an immediate, but yours is immediate. Defenders goes first, so I cannot use my effect. You're up.
Okay. I'm going to maneuver. And I am going to attack. Do I want to boost this attack? Yeah, I'm going to boost it.
Oh, man. Oh, you only have 6 cards left in deck. I have 5. You gotta be close, if not have Excalibur. I think I gotta do this. Yeah, so yours is an 8. I'm gonna take 5. I wanted to use this as a scheme, but I don't want to draw the card because we're getting really close to fatigue and I'm down.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get back that card that, the one that I said totally cancels, the Scabbard.
Right, yeah.
Now it's just a random card that I get, so it's not nearly as good. But I don't know. I wanted to get use out of it while I could. So, weird that it says select a random card. But
yeah.
Not that it really matters.
Yeah, I don't think I should use the terminology select. I think it should just be add a random card from your discard pile to your hand.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this is my discard pile. I just shuffle up. I'm just going to draw one out the top now, okay?
Yeah.
So, come on. Give me a good one.
Worth noting that you don't reveal it to me either. If you played it as a scheme, you would end up telling me which card it is.
Right. Yep. I mean, you can just look, though, right? So if you were
but I'm not going to memorize the deck.
Yeah, right. It's hard to memorize a discard pile, but but for our sake, I'm just going to show you the card. So it was Vision of the Future.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah.
Not the one I wanted. Oh well. And that was your last action. So I took my damage.
Yes.
And now it's my turn. And that was my last Necromancy. So I can't recur any more cards.
Okay.
So that means I can't heal because my heal cards are both in there. I cannot get my good defense cards back. So, with only one more faked weapons and being at a health total of 3 and no way to heal, I have to be super aggressive before you get Excalibur, because once you do, I'm dead.
Makes sense.
Well then, I will attack Arthur. With Morgana, of course.
Yeah. See, this is the problem. If it's Vision of the Future, and I don't defend it, you could just swap it into a nastier card.
Yeah, that's where that card actually comes in handy, because you can kind of use it as a bait that can also guarantee some damage if they decide not to defend.
Yeah. Have to defend here.
Okay.
So, okay.
That'll do 2.
All right. I'm glad I defended now.
You only have one more card in hand. So, if you defend, I know I can't die to Excalibur because you'll have to draw a card and play a scheme. And if it is the Lady of the Lake, you don't have anything to boost it. So, I am going to attack again.
Okay. No defense.
Oh, so I am going to replace it with Power Over Nature for the 5.
Yep. Lady of the Lake was the card in my hand.
Oh
yeah,
my
so
gosh.
Next turn it was Recursion and then Excalibur.
Yep, and I had faked weapons. That was it. Although I guess that would have actually saved me.
Yeah, that would have worked.
Yeah, because I still had
you would have made
Green
it a
Knight.
1.
Mm-hmm. Well, a 3, but yeah, regardless, I mean that's not enough. So I guess you did have to have.
You replaced it with my boost value. I thought it replaced it with faked weapons boost value.
Oh my gosh, that'd be insane. Because then you could even deal a damage on attack with it over like, I don't know, any big card.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought it was. Like the entire game, I was playing it like it was that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was ignoring the Green Knight. Dear Lord, faked weapons is amazing against Sinbad, though.
Oh yeah,
That
dude.
is the meatiest feint ever.
Dude, it literally cancels everything because if it's a
Yeah.
voyage, you feint it, right? And you don't take damage. And if it's that stupid commanding impact that I hate, you just make it a 2 and you don't take any damage. So yeah. Wow, that's really good against Sinbad. Incredible. Good game though. This was super close.
Yeah, that was a
Like,
fun one.
yeah, super fun. I thought it was over long ago when you weren't defending, and then all of a sudden, turns out you did have a defense, and it was the Grail, and that was crazy. Yeah, I mean,
That
Faked
was
Weapons is
fun.
just super unique. It's a super cool
Oh yeah.
card, and I just love how it makes so many decisions for both you and your opponent in terms of how to play the matchup, how to approach it, right? Because
Yeah.
it all depends on the Green Knight, and is it worth it to kill him and kind of shut off Faked Weapons, or like you were thinking, is it not worth it to kill him because Faked Weapons is going to have about the same result either way? You know, it just really depends on
Right.
the matchup. So that's super interesting. I love this card. Very fun.
I think overall the deck is really, really slick. The effects are well themed overall, and I think it's a deck where its play pattern isn't super obvious at first glance. So I think it
Hmm.
falls into like the same complexity level that Red and Beowulf do.
Yeah,
It's definitely a higher complexity deck.
I agree.
Um, and it's one that like you're probably going to get better at playing after you've played it 2 or 3 times. It's really interesting because like at a glance you would probably dismiss the ability as okay, I can every other deck can play 2 schemes a turn, but her unprinted ability is her deck has what 8, 9, 12 schemes in it, but they're schemes that you could use as attacks.
Hmm.
So she has no schemes and a dozen schemes.
Right. Yeah, you get the best of both
So
worlds depending on the
yeah,
situation.
exactly.
Hmm. What was your
How'd you
favorite
feel
card?
about favorite card?
Yeah.
Man, that's hard. Like I like a lot of the cards in this deck for different reasons.
Hmm.
Like Necromancy is super powerful. I love tutor effects like
Oh
that.
yeah. Huge.
Um, but like mechanically, Indirect Vengeance is a phenomenal card. That is such a cool card because that opens up a completely different thing to worry about in the game state. Like you had
Hmm.
said before, like, oh, it's a sidekick. I'm just gonna throw it away anyway and get it back with Defenders of Sherwood later. It's like, nope. Now I'm gonna take 4 to the face.
Yeah, right. So then you have to toss, especially against Robin Hood. It's even more brutal because you
Yeah,
can't win against it, right? So your outlaw's
yeah,
going to die even if you defend, and you know that. But you kind of gotta do it just to safeguard against taking 4 to Robin Hood.
yeah.
So yeah,
Also, blow returned in kind. I'm a super big fan of any card that works out to be if you played wrong, you're taking double damage.
yeah, yeah. Because if you attack with that card,
Yeah.
and they don't defend, then they take 2, and then they take 2 more. Granted, I think that's the riskier way to
Oh
play the
yeah,
card.
definitely.
Yeah, but still, like you said, that's a great option to have.
Now, what's crazy though is if you played blow return in kind into a reflection card from Red or Beowulf, it's throwing that damage back on them too.
Oh, that's hilarious! Like if you attack into a Grendel.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then so you'll take, well, Grendel they could choose not to use it, but Reds, if the symbol matches, it's mandatory.
yeah.
So it would be 2 damage each. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, pick one. What's your one favorite?
Oh, Indirect Vengeance,
Okay.
favorite card.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else is really, really cool and powerful, but Indirect Vengeance is the most unique concept in it.
Okay. Yeah. When I was reviewing it, I think Faked Weapons was my favorite, just on paper,
Yeah.
because of the way it makes you play differently, choosing to either kill the Green Knight or keep him alive or whatever. It's just so versatile of a card. But I don't think that's the most fun card in the deck. I think there's even better. So as much as I love Faked Weapons, I think my favorite, um, I think it was actually Shadow Stalking Camelot, because I don't know. It just seemed so much fun. Doing
Yeah.
the free scheme on top of your attack, it just allowed for some crazy combos that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And like we showed in this first game, or the first turn of this game, where I kind of lowered your hand down to almost nothing, like right off the
Oh yeah.
bat, because I was able to use this Coerced Lesson scheme for free, and it gained an action. So that was just such an awesome combo. So I didn't
I
expect
was
that.
actually I was so terrified of you drawing that card later in the game that when I prophesied, I buried Lady of the Lake 2 from the top so I wouldn't
Ah,
maneuver into it.
nice. Yeah, Chorus Lessons was really strong.
Yeah.
My second copy was way at the bottom of the deck. I didn't see it this
Mm.
game, but yeah, I think Shadow Stalking Camelot was a surprising favorite for me because I didn't expect much of it off the bat, and I really liked it though. Honorable mention, Vision of the Future also gave me the same thought of at first when reviewing. I thought it was really weak and not much to it, but in practice, it surprised me. So
Yeah, Vision of the Future is cool. It really it's like the ultimate feint bait because
hmm
if you don't feint it, it just it hurts so
yeah,
bad.
exactly.
Because now the opponent has 4 knowledge and a +1.
Yep. And if they defend with like a skirmish into the Vision of the Future, you just don't swap it, right? It's like, okay, whatever, I wasted your
Yeah,
skirmish. And
yeah,
if it's a
exactly.
feint, cool, I wasted your feint. And if you don't defend, well, now I'm going to swap it for a buffed up attack.
Yeah, look,
So,
I just swapped it into Shadow Stalking Camelot.
yeah, oh my
And then
gosh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
play Power of Nature over it.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. So, yeah, super fun deck overall. I really liked it.
So the Green Knight.
Yeah. I liked his health being low. I think that
Yeah,
definitely is just part of the strategy and the decisions you have to make.
I think 4 health is the perfect number for him.
Mm-hmm.
4 health is just enough that he is hard to burn down with 1 or 2 good attacks,
Yep.
especially with his defensive options.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the deck is set up really nicely because you want him to soak damage because he has all those little ways to kind of trickle it back in between Avalon and the scheme effect on Illusion of Stone. Yeah.
Another cool thing is that like you might want to try and just kill him off with one big attack, um, but you could use no head, no headache
Yeah.
against
Or
any
blow return in
5.
kind.
Yeah.
And then you're just trading him to put that attack back on them.
Yeah, so if you ever attack him with a 5, you'd kill him over this, which means he'll negate your attack. And if it's
Yeah.
the blow returned in kind, you're only going to deal 3, not 4, so he'll stay alive and deal you 3 back. So, like, you don't
Yeah.
want to attack him with a 5.
the meanest kind of Sherlock.
Yeah, right. Um, so that means you don't want to use a big attack against him, which means, like you said, he can soak at least 2 good attacks.
Yeah, so what is that? So if you played him perfect, no head, no headache. So that's basically soak 4 is the
Not only
best
soak
outcome from
4,
that.
it could be soak 4, heal 3. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, the most net health he can accomplish from it though is 4 health. So if you swung a 5 on him, um if you swung a 5 on him, it would kill him from full health if
Mm-hmm.
you played that. So then he'd come back and it's like he had 4 more health.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is if he was already gotten down to 1 and then you use this, then you actually net
Oh,
that
that's
health.
true.
So
It's
you
it's
could
the Holy
soak
Grail effect.
plus boost, yeah.
Yeah, it's like he has up to 4 extra health from that.
Mm-hmm. And then
And
you
then
have
Arts of
Avalon.
Avalon. Yeah, so Arts of Avalon, that gives him another 4 health, but more importantly, you get to bring him back twice.
Yeah.
So he can get overkilled,
Yep.
which is a net gain for you.
Yep.
Basically, any damage that the opponent wastes on him is a net win for you.
Yep.
Because then Stone Illusion, if he's down but not dead, you can trickle 2 more back into him. So between Avalon and Stone, that's 6 more health. Headache is 4, 10, 14.
14.
Yeah, so he's theoretical 14.
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
That is such a cool design
Mm-hmm.
because it trickles in across the whole deck, and it doesn't work out perfect every time. But in the perfect game,
Yep.
he is an incredibly devious sidekick.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, awesome deck. Let's see if we can get the Knight on here for an interview real quick.
Yeah.
Hello?
How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. That was fun to watch.
Awesome. Yeah, glad you could check it out. Thanks for joining us for the interview. And I loved the deck, man. It was so much fun. It really exceeded my expectations, I'll say. And the ability was just so cool, being so versatile.
Yeah, glad you liked it. It was something I thought of a while ago and just kind of seemed like almost low hanging fruit. So
Yeah. Yeah, it was super fun. I mean, do you have any specific questions or comments you want to throw out there?
I mean, I think you hit a lot of them with the post game talk there. Like the big one is making sure that all of the dual use cards, like it's a fun decision.
Yeah.
So definitely heard that Shadow Stalking Camelot too easy, too strong of an attack, or too
Right.
easy of a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any others that felt too leaning too far one way?
Me
Let me take a
personally,
look.
I think the what's it called? The Stone Illusion probably was one of the weaker ones, just because a lot of times one of the two fighters were at full health still, so you're missing out on some of the healing. Maybe you don't necessarily need the movement effect of it, and you'd rather have it as a solid 4 defense, that can also move you away as like a combo breaking effect. So I think that was probably the only other one that was relatively weak, but it's also the only pass one, I believe. And so we didn't run into that scenario, but it could have been used to great effect being a pass.
Yeah, especially a pass heal one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
guess
that
we didn't run into the situation really, but I think that one might be a little on the weaker side.
yeah, that was I started the deck not thinking about passes at all, and someone commented like, "Hey, so you have 20 passes in here. This is not okay." So
Right.
you can kind of see how I added took that away from a lot of them and left that as the
Yeah.
only one, and kind of, I guess, zoomed in on that as like the benefit of it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought one of the cool things about the ability was also that you could have some more like situation specific schemes, because it's a versatile card, so you can just drop them.
Like Stone Illusion, I feel like it's not so much like a weak option, it's just like a weaker card. I guess that actually is a good standout card for like one of the ones that I wouldn't mind too much if I had to boost it. Because I tended, with all of her other really great after combat effects that she has, it's not like my go-to to defend with. I really wanted to use it for its scheme effect, especially in that game against Dracula, where he was going to be able to put out a lot of damage to me with the sisters and stuff. So I feel like it's reasonably balanced between the two options. It's just that I wasn't super excited to use either one of them, but I think it serves its purpose exactly for what it needs to do.
So, and one that I was concerned would be a little bit too strong on the scheme end was Necromancy.
Yeah.
Being able to choose a very specific card, but
I think honestly you could take Necromancy and take all of the restrictions off of it.
right.
So the scheme could be draw a card, choose a card in your discard pile, and add it to your hand. Because like we were saying earlier, if you pick the other Necromancy, it's just a loop that's burning your game timer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
like you're maneuvering but not going anywhere. So what's the harm? And you can only do it once a turn anyway. And then its after combat effect could just be choose one card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. And I don't think it would be a problem with that either, because if you're infinitely cycling your two necromancies, yeah, you always have a 3 value defense in hand ready to go, but the opponent knows you're going to be playing a 3-value defense. So I mean, if it becomes an issue, maybe knock it down to a 2 instead of a 3.
Okay. Yeah.
But honestly, I don't think you need to restrict it. And like we were saying with the random card from discard pile, if you get to pick the card, and then like by virtue of you picking it, it's showing the opponent which one you picked. It removes all of that issue with the opponent wanting to count your discard pile.
So I'm actually going to play devil's advocate here, though. I think the after combat effect should stay random. Just because,
Really?
I think if it was you got to pick, I don't think I would ever want to use the scheme effect.
Good point. Yeah, because it's turning your game timer.
Exactly. So unless maybe you're comboing it with Shadow Stalking Camelot, because then you get the free scheme effect, and you really want to push aggression and get that hand advantage and knock their cards out of hand. Unless that's the case, I think you would always want to use the after combat effect if you take away the randomness of it.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, so probably random and reveal then.
Yeah, I think random and reveal, though, and then for the scheme effect, I think you can take out the non-necromancy card, because if anybody just takes a necromancy back, they just wasted their scheme, you know. It's kind of pointless, so...
Yeah, that was a problem in an earlier iteration of the card, but it's kind of been weakened a little bit, so the loop doesn't really matter anymore.
Right. See, yeah, if it was actually a loop, if you didn't draw a card off of the necromancy, then it would definitely be too good to be able to pick up another copy of it, because then it's infinite passes.
So another question I had was about Vision of the Future. That was up until like a day or so ago a scheme card. And it was changed to an attack for clarification. And the kind of the big nerf that came with that is, of course, it being cancelable. So, what would you feel about that effect not being cancelable?
I think it's great as is. It's really good at baiting out cards.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Like we talked about in our game, like he feinted this, but I was happy for him to feint it because you know it was one card for one card. I baited a feint, it was fine. And then if he chose not to defend, I can just switch it out. And I mean, I did that. If you saw at the very end, I did switch it out for the lethal blow. So I think it's perfect as is, honestly.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad I changed it like that, and that was. Oncoming Storm, I think, in the comments, who gave me the feedback of like this would make a lot more sense as an attack.
Oh,
so
great job, Oncoming Storm. That was a great suggestion.
Yes. Yes. So another question, the thing that I've been toying around with a lot, and just haven't pulled the trigger on, is just having blow returned in kind be, for simplicity's sake, only the damage from the combat. You know, the deck is kind of volatile as it is, so thinking about the big, you know, Grendel coming back at it, that might stabilize it a little bit more. But I know that also is a fun card, and so
yeah, I think it's not going to come up in a lot of interactions.
Right.
Like most of the time, it's Sherlock. Who else has like significant post combat damage?
There's like Wily fighting with Robin Hood. Jabberwock, that'd be a big one.
That is a big one.
The jaws that bite. It's really up to you on what you want the power level of the card to feel like.
Yeah. Well, and my like the biggest concern that first came out when I was making the deck is like with the Green Knight, the first things that came to mind were these like really strong defense cards. But then, you know, you just had no reason to attack the Green Knight. So I tried to add in those incentivizations. And so in the second one, you know, the second match, he was kind of off to the sides. And I do want the opponent to still attack the Green Knight. So maybe a nerf that would make him a little bit more appealing to attack would be helpful.
Sure. So, I mean, that would be a great change then if you just make blow returned in kind the standard effect, you know, and take out that other part. So
I think I would have focused him a little bit more if I didn't think that faked weapons would swap my card to a 1.
Right.
So I'm like, even if I kill him, both of these options are terrible for Arthur. So why am I going to kill him?
Good point. Also, though, because I chose to play him back, there's not a whole lot of reason to chase after him unnecessarily if I'm putting Morgana up front. But if I chose to play differently and put the Green Knight up front and use more attacks with the Green Knight, then it's more likely that the opponent is going to counterattack into him, right? Instead of wasting their time, maybe having a boost or whatever to get to him. Which brings up the point I was going to bring up earlier with, we talked about declared attack being probably a 6. I love the card. It's super unique and cool, but I think a 5 is a little weak, and I think being a 6 would be more incentive for Morgana to play with the Green Knight more up front, and then fixing that other problem you mentioned.
Yeah, it was a 6 and then got pulled back to a 5 and probably could go to a 6.
Yeah, because, I mean, think about, there's a lot of other decks with flat 5s with no effect, and this is like that, but worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely think a 6. Yeah, on a sidekick at that.
Yep. Cool.
6 would be cool. I also I want to give kudos to you for, like, all the effects you came up with the schemes and the after combats being kind of similar in a lot of regards, yet different enough to be a big choice on which one to pick, you know? With Avalon, I mean, you're kind of choosing between healing Morgana or the Green Knight in a way. With Necromancy, you're getting a card back from the discard pile regardless, but the scheme effect shortens your game timer by drawing a card, and the after combat is random, so it's not as much control. And Coerced lessons. Because if you use it as a defense, you get to see every card in the hand and discard it, which is honestly a lot stronger than seeing all but one, because then you have perfect knowledge. And the scheme you get all but one, so it's not as good of knowledge, but you also still gain the action. But to play it as an after combat, you have to only play a 1 value defense, so you know you're taking damage. So I don't know. Yeah, it was just super cool the way the effects were similar yet different enough to force those decisions, and super fun.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of also proceeds from needing to have one card title for the cards and have it still make sense thematically. So kind of had to approach each effect from 2 different ways, like thematically, which was the fun of it, I thought.
Oh yeah, big time. Any other specific questions or comments?
Really appreciate you all giving the deck a play. I'm glad to see that you enjoyed it. I've really loved the Playtesting Guild. So anyone listening or watching in, it's super easy to get involved with. So check it out on Reddit.
Yeah, definitely. The more the merrier. So if we can get more people jumping in and participating, the better all these decks are going to be, and the more unique decks we're going to be able to see if people keep it up. So yeah, definitely jump in. Well,
thanks so much.
Yeah, not a problem. It was a blast playing the deck. So anybody watching, thanks for checking it out. Make sure you go check out the Playtesting Guild on Reddit, or even on the Discord or on Facebook, you know, wherever. Whatever social media platform you want to use, somebody will be there to see it, and they'll reel you in. So make sure you get your participation points. So just jump on in, try it out. People love making their custom decks, so why not get it through the guild? And thanks, Knight, for joining us for the interview. Thanks, Gary, for playing with me here. And anybody watching, we will catch you in the next one. All right, guys, that's going to do it for round 12 of the Playtesting Guild with Morgana LeFay. And hopefully the Knight got some quality feedback on his deck. I know we had a blast playing it, so I would definitely recommend this one if you want to give it a shot yourselves. And if you want to be a part of the Playtesting Guild, it's so easy. Just jump on over to the Reddit page, comment on there, or even on Facebook or Discord, or even on this video. Anything counts, and we would love to have you. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Unmatched content. So thanks again for watching. I'm ZeroSkater12, and I'll see you next time.